So, dear students, yesterday we were discussing some problems on electrochemistry, in particularly problems on Faraday's laws of electrolysis. So, today I will discuss another one problem which is more important. So, write down how many Faraday of electricity is required to liberate number 1 5600 cc or centimeter cube of oxygen at STP, and number 2 224 cm cube of hydrogen at STP from acidified water. So, you have to calculate how many Faraday of electricity is required to liberate 500 cm cube of oxygen at STP, and number 2 224 cm cube of hydrogen at STP from acidified water. So, first you have to know what happens when acidified water is electrolyzed. So, write down electrolysis of acidified water. Water can be represented as H2O L gives H2G plus of O2G plus 2 electrons. So, when water is electrolyzed, acidified water is electrolyzed, you will get hydrogen gas, oxygen gas, hydrogen gas at cathode, oxygen gas at anode with the liberation of 2 electrons. So, here when 1 mole of water is electrolyzed, you will get 1 mole of hydrogen and half mole of oxygen. So, here oxygen O2 minus plus after losing 2 electrons is converted into half O2 plus 2 electrons. So, hydrogen ions comes towards cathode and oxygen gas comes towards anode. So, this is what happens. During this electrolysis, when 1 mole of acidified water is electrolyzed, you will get 1 mole of hydrogen gas and 1 mole of oxygen gas. So, note 1 mole of a gas at STP, 1 mole of a gas at STP occupies 22,400 cc. 1 mole of a gas or 1 mole of any gas at STP occupies 22,400 cc. This is the information I have given in your first PUC classes. Therefore, 1 mole of hydrogen gas occupies how many cc's? 22,400 cc. Half mole of oxygen means how many cc's? 11,200 cc. So this idea you have to bear in your mind. Now to liberate 5,600 cm cube of oxygen at STP. 5,600 cm cube of oxygen at STP. What is the current required? So by this equation we know to liberate 11,200 cc of oxygen at STP, what is the amount of current required? The amount of current required is 2 Faraday. So here there are 2 moles of electrons, that means 2 Faraday of electricity. Therefore to liberate 560 cm cube of oxygen, what is the amount of current required? So to liberate 11,200 cc of oxygen at STP, the amount of electric charge, required equals 2 Faraday equals 2 Faraday. Therefore to liberate 5,600 cm cube of oxygen at STP, the amount of charge required is 2 Faraday divided by 11,200 into 5,600. So this is equals 1 Faraday. This is equals 1 Faraday. So this is the solution for this question. So next we will calculate 22,400 cm cube of hydrogen at STP. So for the liberation of 22,400 cc of hydrogen at STP, what is the amount of current required? 2 Faraday. Therefore to liberate 224 cm cube, the amount of current required is, we have to calculate 22,400 cm cube of hydrogen at STP is liberated by 2 Faraday of electricity. Therefore the amount of electricity required to liberate 224 cm cube of hydrogen equals 2 Faraday divided by 22,400 into 224. So that is equal to 0.02 Faraday. 0.02 Faraday. So next let us study what are the factors which influence the products of electrolysis. What are the factors which influence the products of electrolysis. So as I have told you in the last class, during the electrolysis of electrolytes, products will be liberated at the respective electrodes. So anode will be dissolved and cathodes will be deposited. So what are the factors which depends upon, or the factors which influence the products of electrolysis? What are the products which are liberated at the anode or cathode? Depends on the following factors. The factors which influence are: number one, nature of the electrolyte, and the nature of the electrodes, used. So the products of electrolysis, what are the products which are liberated at the respective electrodes, depends upon: number one, nature of the electrolyte and nature of the electrodes used. Number two, standard electrode potential, potentials of the competing ions, standard electrode potentials of the competing ions. And number three, concentration of the electrolyte. And fourth one is over voltage. So these are the products of electrolysis depends upon these factors. The products of electrolysis depends upon nature of the electrolyte and nature of the electrodes used, standard electrode potentials of the competing ions. So the ions, competing ions means the ions which move towards the respective electrodes. And third one, concentration of the electrolyte. And fourth one, over voltage. It is also called as over potential. Now this is very important question. What are the products of electrolysis of number one, molten sodium chloride. Number two, aqueous sodium chloride. What are the products of electrolysis of molten sodium chloride? So what is molten sodium chloride? When sodium chloride is melted or fused, we will get liquid sodium chloride. That sodium chloride is known as molten sodium chloride. And what is aqueous sodium chloride? Sodium chloride dissolved in water is called aqueous sodium chloride. So this is an important question. Number one, what is the answer for the first question? When molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed, chlorine is liberated at the anode and sodium is liberated at the cathode. You have to write the answer like this. So when molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed, chlorine is liberated at the anode and sodium is liberated at the cathode. So what is the reaction? NaCl, this one is molten, decomposes to give Na plus Cl minus. So at anode, positively charged electrode, chloride ions move towards anode. What happens? After losing the electron, they are converted into chlorine gas plus electrons. Or otherwise, if two chloride ions move, they will form chlorine gas with the liberation of two electrons. Therefore, chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. So at cathode, Na plus ions accept electron and converted into sodium atom. Therefore, chlorine is liberated at the anode and sodium is liberated at the cathode. Next, coming to products of electrolysis. Number 2, when aqueous solution of NaCl, sodium chloride, is electrolyzed. So this is the important question. What are the products of electrolysis of aqueous solution of sodium chloride? So when aqueous solution of NaCl is electrolyzed, chlorine is liberated at the anode and hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode. This is very important. So when it is molten sodium chloride, chlorine is liberated at the anode and sodium is liberated at the cathode. So if it is an aqueous solution of sodium chloride, chlorine is liberated at the anode and hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode. So what is the reaction here? So reaction, NaCl dissociates to give Na plus Cl minus. So at anode, what happens? Chloride ions, after reaching the anode, loses electron and converted into chlorine gas with the liberation of electrons. So chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. So at cathode, so here water is there. Water plus 2 electrons gives H2 gas plus 2OH minus. So hydrogen gas is liberated. So here you have to note that now in aqueous solution of sodium chloride, when electrolyzed, so this one is cathode and this one is anode. So here chloride ions will move towards anode. So to move towards cathode, there are sodium ions, there are hydrogen ions of water. So these are competing ions. Sodium ions also move towards cathode. Hydrogen ions of water will also move towards cathode. So therefore sodium ions and hydrogen ions are the cations. These are the competing ions. Out of these two competing ions, whose electrode potential is highest? The ions whose standard electrode potential is highest, is reduced first. Out of these two ions, hydrogen ion standard electrode potential. So E naught of hydrogen ions is equal to 0.0 volt and E naught of sodium ions is equal to minus 2.71 volts. So out of these two ions, whose electrode potential is highest? Hydrogen electrode potential is highest, whereas sodium electrode potential is minus 2.71 volts. Therefore, out of these two ions, hydrogen ions are reduced first when compared to sodium ions. Therefore, hydrogen ions is liberated at the cathode. So that is the reason we have to bear in your mind that during the electrolysis of aqueous solution of sodium chloride, chlorine is liberated at the anode and hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode, because hydrogen ions having higher value of standard electrode potential is reduced first when compared to sodium ions. Therefore, hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode. So, dear students, next we will study what are electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells. What are electrochemical cells? The cells which converts electrical energy into chemical energy. The cell which converts electrical energy into chemical energy and vice versa, means chemical energy into electrical energy are called electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells are the devices which converts electrical energy into chemical energy and chemical energy into electrical energy are called electrochemical cells. So coming to the types of electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells are of two types. Number one, voltaic cells or galvanic cells, and number two, electrolytic cells. Voltaic cells or galvanic cells, and number two, electrolytic cells. So now we will know what are voltaic cells or galvanic cells. So what are voltaic cells or galvanic cells? These are the electrochemical cells which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. So the electrochemical cells which converts chemical energy into electrical energy, are called voltaic cells or galvanic cells. So example for voltaic cell or galvanic cell is Daniell cell. So later on we will discuss what are Daniell cells in detail. So here what happens? The free energy liberated during spontaneous chemical reactions are converted into chemical energy. Here, free energy of spontaneous chemical reactions. What are spontaneous chemical reactions? Reactions which takes place by themselves are called spontaneous chemical reactions. So the energy liberated during these spontaneous chemical reactions are converted into electrical energy. Here, free energy of the spontaneous chemical reactions are converted into electrical energy. So this is the what are called voltaic cells or galvanic cells. Electrochemical cells which converts chemical energy into electrical energy and electrical energy into chemical energy are called in general electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells are of two types: voltaic cells or galvanic cells or electrolytic cells. Voltaic cells which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Here free energy of the spontaneous reactions are converted into electrical energy. So now we will study what are electrolytic cells. What are electrolytic cells? Electrolytic cells are also electrochemical cells which converts electrical energy into chemical energy. Here electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. The electrochemical cells which convert electrical energy into chemical energy are called electrolytic cells. Example: copper voltmeter. So here what happens? Electrical energy is used to bring about non-spontaneous chemical reactions. The reactions which are not occurring at the room temperature, by the use of electric energy, these non-spontaneous reactions are made to take place. So that is the work done by electrochemical cells. Here electrical energy is used to bring about the non-spontaneous chemical reactions. So this is the difference between electrolytic cell and electrochemical cells. Galvanic cells are voltaic cell. In galvanic cells or voltaic cells, chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. Here the free energy liberated during spontaneous reactions are converted into electrical energy. In electrolytic cell, electrical energy is converted into chemical energy, or the electrical energy is used to bring about non-spontaneous chemical reactions. So this is the differences between electrolytic cell and voltaic cells. Example for voltaic cells, Daniell cell. Example for electrolytic cell is copper voltmeter. So students, now let us understand what are electrodes or half cells. What are single electrodes? What are single electrodes or half cells. So what are single electrodes? Say for example, this is a zinc rod dipped in zinc sulfate solution. So this one is zinc rod dipped in zinc sulfate solution which contains zinc ions. So this is a metal in contact with its ions in solution. So this is called zinc electrode. So when metal in contact with its ions, when a metal is dipped in the solution of its ions, forms an electrode which is called a metal electrode. Here zinc is dipped in zinc ions, it is called zinc electrode. Similarly, if a copper rod, this one is copper rod dipped in copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution, when copper sulfate is dissolved in water, it splits up into copper ions and sulfate ions. So copper is dipped in copper ions. So what is this electrode is called? Copper electrode. Copper electrode. Similarly, hydrogen gas in contact with hydrogen ions, hydrochloric acid, hydrogen gas in contact with hydrogen ions form hydrogen electrode. So in general, an element, whether it may be a metal or a non-metal, in contact with its ions, an element in contact with its ions forms an electrode. So what is an electrode? It is a device in which an element may be metal or non-metal. A device in which an element in contact with its ions in solution. Example, zinc electrode. So in zinc electrode, zinc rod dipped in zinc sulfate solution forms zinc electrode. Number 2, copper electrode. What is copper electrode? Copper rod dipped in copper sulfate solution forms copper electrode. Similarly, hydrogen electrode. Here hydrogen gas in contact with HCl solution forms hydrogen electrode. In general, an element in contact with its ions forms the electrode. This forms the electrode. This electrode is also called as half cell. The electrode is also called half cell, is also called as half cell. So now let us study what is electrode potential. What is electrode potential? It is represented as capital E. What is electrode potential? For example, when copper rod is dipped in copper sulfate solution, zinc rod dipped in zinc sulfate solution, copper rod dipped in copper sulfate solution, we will get zinc electrode, copper electrode, etc. So when zinc rod dipped in zinc sulfate solution, there exists a potential difference between the zinc atoms and zinc ions. This potential difference is called electrode potential. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the metal and its solution. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the metal and its ions in solution is known as electrode potential, and it is represented as E. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the element, whether it may be metal or non-metal. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the element and its ions in solution is called electrode potential. And it is represented as capital E. Now, when a metal is in contact with its ions, two things are possible. So, these metal atoms may undergo oxidation. So, these metal atoms in the rod have a tendency to undergo oxidation. What is oxidation? Losing of electron is called oxidation. On the other hand, the metal ions in the solution have a tendency to undergo reduction. That is Zn2 plus 2 electron gives Zn. So when a metal is dipped in the solution of its ions, two things are possible. The tendency of a metal atoms to go into solution by losing electrons, and then the metal ions present in the solution have a tendency to accept the electrons and convert it into metal atoms. So two things are possible. If this reaction takes place, it is called oxidation. If this reaction takes place, it is called reduction. So when metal is dipped in metal ions, metal atoms may undergo oxidation and converted into metal ions by losing electrons. This process is known as oxidation. On the other hand, the metal ions which are present in the solution have a tendency to gain the electrons and convert it into metal atoms and deposit on the electrodes. So depending upon which reaction is favorable, it is called oxidation or reduction. If oxidation is favorable, the electrode potential is called oxidation electrode potential. If reduction takes place at the electrode, it is called reduction electrode potential. So next, If oxidation takes place at the electrode, comma, it is called oxidation electrode potential. It is called oxidation electrode potential. Example, Zn gives Zn2 plus 2 electrons. So if this reaction is favorable, two reactions are favorable, whether it may be oxidation or reduction. If oxidation is favorable, oxidation takes place. If reduction is favorable, reduction takes place. If oxidation takes place, the electrode potential is called oxidation electrode potential. If reduction takes place, it is called reduction electrode potential. Number 2, if reduction takes place at the electrode, it is called reduction electrode potential. So if reduction takes place, what is the reaction? Example, Zn2 plus ions which are present in the solution accepts the electron and converted into zinc atom and deposited on this metal. The process is known as reduction. So, dear students, now let us understand what is standard electrode potential. What is standard electrode potential? Standard electrode potential, it is denoted as E0. Standard electrode potential E0. So what is the difference between electrode potential and standard electrode potential? For example, as I have told you, when zinc rod is dipped in zinc ions, you will get zinc electrode. So suppose this is zinc electrode dipped in zinc ions. This is zinc electrode, this is zinc ions. If the concentration of the zinc ions is 1 molar and if the temperature is equal to 298 Kelvin, the electrode potential is known as standard electrode potential. On the other hand, instead of a metal, if you use a gas, non-metal, then you have to mention the pressure at 1 bar pressure. So this is the condition or the difference between electrode potential and standard electrode potential. Write down the definition of standard electrode potential. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the metal or non-metal. When the concentration of the metal ions is 1 molar and at concentration of the metal ion is 1 molar in bracket. If it is a gas or a non-metal, 1 bar pressure. And at 298 Kelvin is called standard electrode potential. So standard electrode potential is nothing but the electrode potential when the concentration of the metal ion is 1 molar and the temperature is 298 Kelvin. So, if a gas is involved in this electrode, we have to mention the pressure of the gas. The pressure of the gas must be 1 bar pressure and temperature must be 298 Kelvin. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the metal or non-metal and its ions. The potential difference that exists at the interface of the metal or non-metal and its ions when the concentration of the metal ions is 1 molar and at 298 Kelvin is called standard electrode potential E naught. So, standard electrode potential is nothing but standard reduction potential. So, note down, according to IUPAC recommendation, so the standard reduction electrode potential, standard reduction electrode potential is considered as standard electrode potential. So, to avoid confusion whether it is oxidation electrode potential or reduction electrode potential, according to IUPAC recommendation, we have to consider only standard reduction electrode potential. Standard reduction electrode potential are considered as standard electrode potentials. So, to avoid confusion, we have to consider only standard reduction electrode potentials. Example, E naught of Zn2 plus bar Zn, standard electrode potential of zinc electrode is equal to minus 0.76 volts. Similarly, E naught of copper is equal to plus 0.34 volt. So, even though it is a reduction electrode potential, it should be considered as standard electrode potential according to IUPAC recommendation.